Okay, so I want to do a short promotional video on the upcoming men's breakfast study that starts next Thursday, February 11th at 6:30. It'll go on to 7:30 sharp. We'll end right on that time, so everyone has time to get to work or can linger around if you need to. We'll stay as long as people want. We'll end at 7:30 for people that need to leave. It's just going to be a short 5-week study. We're going to try it out this way, see how this goes. I think so far we have 6 or 7 men committed to trying to come to the best of their abilities, and I would love for a few more of you to join in if you're free. It's going to be going over covenant theology, and it's really meant to be a study. It's not really meant to be devotional as much. Very much believe in devotionals, but this is not really that. It's also going to be a time of light fellowship and breakfast, but it's not really a fellowship time per se. We have plenty of fellowship times and good fellowship times at community groups and after church and other times that we meet for that. So this is not, not going to have fellowship, but it's really not going to just be time to get together. It's really going to be a study. And so we're really going to go through covenant theology in a very kind of meaty, kind of deeper focus. And in 5 weeks doesn't seem like a lot of time, but we can cover a lot of ground in that time. So I'm going to break it up into 5 teachings, and we're going to try to be succinct about it. But the first lesson that we're going to do on the 11th is going to be going over the covenant of redemption, which is really understood as the covenant in eternity that the Father and the Son make between themselves. Of course, and the Holy Spirit is the one that's kind of the communing agent and the execution, of course, also the application of that covenant as well in history. But it's the Trinity making what's called the Pactum Salutis, the covenant of salvation and redemption in eternity. And we'll probably be mainly working from J.B. Fesco's excellent book, The Trinity and the Covenant of Redemption. Fesco's a systematic professor out at Westminster Seminary in California. I've read many of his books, and they're all very good books. And he's written kind of a tome on that. And so we'll be kind of distilling some of the things that he said, along with going through the scripture and history on some of that too. So the first lesson will be on the covenant of redemption. So the covenant made in eternity, kind of super history, kind of outside of history. The second lesson is going to go over the covenant of works. Some scholars call it the covenant of redemption, or the covenant of creation that God makes with Adam and Eve, but specifically Adam in the garden. And this one has been primarily the flashpoint of controversy over the last 100 years or so. And many theologians want just to kind of take it out, and they feel it's problematic. I don't think so. I think what's problematic is their understanding of covenant in general. So we're going to go through that. That one's probably going to be the more challenging one because it's less discussed. But the covenant of works will be our second lesson in February on the 18th. And we're going to be working primarily from some different thinkers on that, not specifically one text, but a collection of texts on that. Though I do prefer the summary versions of the Covenant of Works from G.I. Williamson, O. Palmer Robertson, and some others. So we'll kind of work from some well-known names, but that'll be a good discussion on what is the Covenant of Works that God made with Adam in the garden, so the pre-fall covenant. And then the next 2 weeks, we will go through a little bit more intensely for 2 weeks, the covenant of grace. And I'll probably use 2 more introductory books to kind of frame the discussion, though we can go into it as much as you want. But Michael Williams' book, As Far as the Curse is Found, is very, very good introductory work on this, especially the covenant of grace, as well as O. Palmer Robertson's book, Christ and the Covenants. Both those books are excellent, have different value. They kind of actually focus on the way the covenants relate a little bit differently. One's a little bit more what's called biblical theology, though it's systematic. The other one's a little bit more systematic theology, but it's biblical. But for 2 weeks, we're going to talk about the covenant of grace. And basically, the covenant of grace is how God is executing his covenant of redemption that he made in eternity in actual history. And it's a post-fall covenant in the way that God is working it out after the sin of Adam and Eve. And so we will be working from probably those 2 texts along with others to go through that. And then lastly, we're going to take 1 week to talk about other forms of kind of evangelical ways of reading the Bible that are contrary, that have similarities with covenant theology to some degree, but in fact have some opposition to them as well. So different ways of reading the Bible as a Bible-believing Christian. Specifically, we're going to look at Two, our Baptist brothers that tend to read the Bible as New Covenant theologians, which will be interesting to read. And then, of course, our Bible church believing brothers and sisters, the dispensationalists. And we'll look at kind of how they read the Bible as well, to see the differences and some of the continuities, but really more the differences in how the Bible is read between like-minded, creed-believing, Bible-believing Christians. And we'll also probably get into a few heresies as well that are just sub-Christian, like Marcionism and some other things too, in that 5th week, which will be right before spring break. So I would love to invite our men, even, to be honest, even if older high school or college kids really want to be a part of it, you are welcome to come. But it's really going to be a study. It's going to be a deep dive into covenant theology and the covenant of redemption in eternity, the covenant of works in the pre-fall, the covenant of grace post-fall, and then, of course, some differing views on how to read the Scriptures as a Bible-believing Christian that are really kind of opposed to covenant theology in that manner of reading the Scriptures as one story. So I think it'll be a probably kind of a bang-up 5-week course. It'll be a lot of fun. We're not going to make it so academic that you can't laugh, okay? But we're also going to make it serious enough and intentional enough that you're going to come away feeling like you really got some meat and understand some things a little bit better. And it's no homework. There's no. You've got to read all this stuff, but there will be a supplemental reading list if you want to go further. I'll also have handouts every week for you to follow along the teaching, and it'll be discussion-oriented as well, okay? So men of Providence, very interested high school students, boys, and college students at Tech and others, you are very welcome to join us starting next Thursday at 6:30 a.m. in the Fellowship Hall, and we're going to do a 5-week, consecutive week course on covenant theology and go deep dive into it. All right, hope to see you there. Bye-bye.